Today we'll be doing a back bend sequence with our peak pose being mermaid or full pigeon pose. So we'll be focusing a lot on shoulder flexion, opening up the shoulders, moving into back extension, and opening up through the quads and hip flexors, moving into hip extension as well. A little bit of hip opening for the front leg and general warming up of the spine to move us into back bends. So we'll be starting over 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, you can use a rolled mat or even a towel just for a little bit of a lift in the chest. If you do have blocks, we'll be placing 1 block flat and the other block just in its middle height for the head. Come to seated on the mat and slowly recline down onto the blocks. Place the bottom block under the ribs and supporting through the shoulder blades. And then the top block is going to come underneath your head. Adjust the heights if you need to so that you feel completely comfortable in your neck and shoulders. From here, we'll bring the legs into a crossed position, crossing at mid-shin and floating the arms up into cactus. Feeling a gentle stretch over the chest and into the arms. Turning the palms up to face the ceiling. And then gently moving the elbows up and down with your breath. And just gently starting to stretch and warm up the shoulders and arms. Feel how the block is helping to lift and support the ribs, bringing us into a gentle back bend. Make sure to relax any tension from your neck and shoulders. And keep slowly moving the arms up and down, moving with your breath. From here, taking the arms overhead and holding onto the elbows, allow your arms to rest back, maybe onto the blocks or past the blocks if that feels good for you. Bringing the shoulders into shoulder flexion. Really feel the length through the sides of the body as you go on extending the elbows away, keeping the neck soft and relaxed. At any point, if your lower back feels uncomfortable, feel free to uncross the legs and just sit with the knees bent and tuck the tailbone down slightly if you need to. Otherwise, keeping the legs crossed. Gently change the cross of your arm, bringing the other elbow on top, and then resting the arms back again. Go on lifting the chest and lengthening through the sides of your body. Slowly releasing now, just bringing the arms to your sides and relaxing out the shoulders. Preparing to come up off our blocks, gently lift your gaze, press up onto your elbows for a little bit of support, and then press up onto your hands to come back up to sitting. We'll move the blocks or whatever support you have out of the way now. And then uncrossing the legs, slowly come back to lying on your back. Moving into figure 4 stretch. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh, flexing the right ankle and gently opening up through the hip. You can hold it here if this feels enough for today, or start to float the left leg up. Wrapping the hands around the back of the left thigh. Make sure your neck is relaxed and the shoulders are still heavy on the ground. If you wish to take the stretch a little deeper, option to hold over the front left shin. And keep gently pressing the right thigh away to open up into that hip. Imagining that this right leg will become your pigeon leg later on in the sequence. From here, we'll move into a little twist. So bring your left toes towards the right side of the mat, arms into cactus position. Twisting your right sole of foot towards the left side of the mat and gently turning your gaze over the right shoulder. You can stay here or option to take your right hand and reach it down towards your left foot, drawing that left knee towards the center of the mat into a little quad stretch. Try and keep both shoulders evenly on the ground. An option to open up the right hip a little bit more towards the ground. Keeping the gaze turned towards the right shoulder. A little stretch through your left shoulder as your arm stays in cactus. Slowly release the bottom foot and float your legs back up to tabletop position, and you can ground through the feet. This time crossing left ankle over the right thigh. Feel that external rotation in the left hip. Floating the right leg up and catching hold of the back of the right thigh. Keeping shoulders and neck relaxed on the mat. Option to deepen the stretch by holding the top of the right shin and gently pressing that left thigh away to open up the hip. Moving into our twist now, bring your right toes towards the left side of the mat, arms to cactus, twisting the left sole of foot to the ground and gently turning your gaze towards the left shoulder. Taking your left hand to reach down and catch hold of the right foot, holding baby toe side of the foot and drawing the right knee towards the center of the mat into a little quad stretch. Option to open the left hip up a little bit more and keeping the gaze turned over the left shoulder. Nice deep breaths here. Good. Gently we release. Releasing the arms, floating the legs up to tabletop, and then gently hugging knees to chest with a little rock from side to side, just massaging those muscles in the lower back. From here we'll come up to kneeling, so lifting your gaze and rolling up to a seated position. Rolling over the feet and coming into a child's pose position. Big toes together, knees apart, and releasing the hips down towards the heels. Walk your hands forwards as much as possible to really feel the stretch through the sides of the body. Feel like the ribs are moving away from the hips, lengthening the waist, and releasing your head to the ground. Keep the arms straight and active and go on reaching through your fingertips. Press through the hands to feel the hips anchoring towards the heels. Feel like your chest is dropping a little bit towards the ground, so we're feeling that opening in the shoulders. here, walking the hands over towards the right until you can feel a stretch down the left side of your body, through the shoulders and the waist, maybe even a little bit into the lower back, and fold forwards here. Feeling that stretch through the side of the body. It's nice to think of breathing deep into your left side of the rib cage, really opening up through the side ribs. Slowly walking back past the center and all the way over towards the left side until you can feel that stretch running down the right side of your body, and forward fold. Nice deep breaths through the right side of the ribs, expanding into that stretch. From here, walking back to center, placing your elbows on the ground and hands into prayer position. From here, reach your fingertips forwards towards the front of the mat and slowly bend the elbows to bring your hands towards the back of the head. From here, wiggle your elbows forwards a little bit more so you feel a good stretch through the triceps. And go on reaching your fingertips back towards the hips. Again, feeling the chest dropping through the arms towards the mat. To increase the stretch, go on wiggling your elbows forwards a little more. From here, option to take Gomukhasana arms by circling your left arm behind you, bending the elbow and reaching fingertips towards one another or binding through your hands. Make sure to roll your left shoulder open so it's not dropping forwards towards the mat. Rotate that shoulder back and down. Pressing the chest forwards back towards the mat and breathing here. Gently we release, bringing hands back to center and then circling your right arm behind you, bending your elbow, reaching fingertips towards one another or binding, and then forward fold. Go on reaching your left elbow forwards to keep that stretch in the triceps. Think of how the arms would be in mermaid here and how we're working that stretch through both shoulders. Gently we release and extend both arms forwards again into child's pose. Lengthen through the sides of the body and release. From here, gently coming up onto your hands and knees for cat-cow. Walk your hands underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers nice and wide, and place the knees directly underneath the hips, toes pointing straight back. Inhale, we're going to gaze up to arch the spine, draw the shoulder blades down and press your chest forwards. Watch to not throw your head back, but keep length through the back of the neck. On your exhale, tuck the tailbone, gaze towards your belly button and round up through the spine. Inhale, slowly uncurl, Gaze up and draw your shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, tucking tailbone, round through your spine. You feel like you're pressing your hands away from you. Inhale to lengthen forwards, arch the spine, lift your chest. Exhale as we round through the back. One more time, inhale, lengthening forwards, gentle back extension, and exhale to round. Here you can hold in your cat stretch and just rock it out a little bit, just warming up the back muscles, keeping that tuck in the tailbone, and just moving in a way that feels good for you, releasing into any tight spaces. Slowly we uncurl back to a neutral spine position. And make sure that you feel nice and balanced through both hands. Inhale, extending your right leg straight back behind you. Allow the hip to open as you really reach that right leg up nice and high. Bend the right knee into like a scorpion tail position and gaze forwards towards the top of the mat. Go on lifting the right thigh up nice and high. Lean forwards over the wrist and tiny little chaturanga forward, squeezing your elbows into the ribs and kicking the right thigh up nice and high. Slowly straightening the arms, bring your right knee towards your chest, round the spine and step forwards for a low lunge position. Walk your hands forwards and come up onto the fingertips, lengthening through the spine. Allow the hips to come forward so you can feel a nice stretch opening through the back hip flexor. Lift your chest and keep the shoulders down away from the ears. From here, place your left hand firmly on the mat and gently bend through your back left knee. Make sure that you're not on the kneecap, but that you can wiggle that leg back so when you bend the knee, you're resting more towards the top of the thigh. Reach the right arm up and circle it back towards your left foot, seeing if you can catch hold of that foot. Lean your head back to twist the chest open. Kick your foot gently into your hand to open the chest. And if the right knee wants to open out to the side in more of a lizard-like position, just allow for that. Deep breaths here. If it feels good, you can draw that left heel in a little bit closer to deepen the stretch in the thigh, or holding wherever feels best today. Make sure not to sink into your left shoulder, but to press through your left hand out of the shoulder. Slowly we release, grounding back through both hands. Walk your hands back a little bit as we sweep your right leg straight back behind you. Bend the right knee and shift your weight towards your right hand. Circling the left arm up and back now to catch hold of the right foot. Kick your foot into your hand as we lift the chest, lean the head back. Little back bend, inhale. And exhale, release back to all fours. Taking a moment here to ground. On the other side, we inhale, reach back through the left leg, really lifting up through the thigh, allowing the hips to open gently. Bend the left knee and go on kicking the thigh up nice and high. Look forwards, lean forwards over the wrist and baby chaturanga with the scorpion tail. Pressing the arms straight, bringing left knee to chest And stepping forwards, low lunge. Stacking the left knee over the ankle and coming up into the fingertips. Allow the hips to melt forwards into that lunge. Lift your chest. Shoulder blades down. Deep breaths here. Ground through your right hand. Make sure not to sink into the shoulder, but press out of that shoulder joint. Reaching the left arm up and circling back as we bend the right knee, coming into our quad stretch. Lean forwards onto that thigh, so you're not resting on the kneecap, but more on the thigh if possible. Left knee can open out to the side if that feels more comfortable. And then kicking your foot into your hand, leaning the chest back, and twisting the left shoulder up towards the ceiling. Nice deep breaths here. Slowly we release, grounding back through both hands. Walk your hands back a little closer as we extend your left leg straight back behind you. Shift your weight towards your left hand as we bend the left knee. Reaching the right arm up towards the ceiling and catching hold of the left foot. Kick your foot into your hand as you lean your head back and open the chest. Go on lifting the toes up to the ceiling. Breathing in. And slowly we release back onto all fours. Moving into plank. Step one foot back and tuck the toe. Other foot back, meeting in plank position. Shoulders over the wrists. Thighs pressing away from the ground. Gaze forwards. Breathe in. And slowly lifting the hips up into downward dog. See how high you can lift the sit bones up to the ceiling. Relax through the neck. And gently extend heels towards the ground. Keeping the lift in the hips. Breathing here in downward dog. Keep pressing through your hands and checking that your index finger, your pointer finger is pointing forwards. So we haven't turned those hands in. Go on pressing through your hands, nice strong straight arms. And breathe. Slowly looking forwards to the top of the mat. You can gently walk, step or jump to your hands. Inhale, hands onto the shins, press chest forwards, make a little back bend through the upper back. Broaden across the collarbones, bringing shoulder blades together. Breathe in. And exhale, forward fold, relax the head down. Coming up to standing, inhale, reaching the arms up. Lengthen up through the sides of the body as you really reach through your fingertips. Little back bend by lifting your chest. Try not to sink into your lower back, but really think of lengthening up through the ribs and the sides of the body. Arms down and release in Tadasana, mountain pose.